Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. As you can probably tell, this is not my shop, this is Mandy's new shop. And after several weeks of being busy, I finally have the time to get started. Well, more specifically, she told me I was going to get started because she's ready to be out here. Well, to start with, I have to make sure I get all my steps in. And even though my shop's literally 3 feet away, it seemed like everything that I needed was in my shop. In a previous video, I added that new electrical service to my shop, knowing that I wanted to have enough power for her to run whatever she wanted to in hers, and that meant adding a new 100 amp sub panel for hers. I calculated that 100 amps would be enough to run, well, I don't know, 10, 12 freeze dryers, but hopefully it won't come to that. I ran all this in conduit, and at this point right here was when I realized that I didn't have all the fittings that I needed, so I used a heat gun, I've shown this in previous videos, to make my own coupling for this 1.5 inch conduit. Then I got to reuse the wire that I pulled out whenever I added electrical service that fed my shop from the panel in the house. It was great to not have to go buy a wire to power her shop with. Then I had this bright idea to use the existing ribs in the tin as conduit. I'm going to insulate these walls anyway, and it'll keep them hidden and protected. Then I set all the receptacle boxes and put a few receptacle boxes on the ceiling. The lights that I chose, more on that later, they have a 120 volt plug and then they series together, so the switch on the wall is going to turn the plug on and the plug is going to turn the light on. The lights that I chose off of Amazon have directional LEDs, which I thought was great, but Mandy really hates them, so there might be a light changing video in the future. I added some 2x4 studs in the corners, drilling directly into those metal beams in order to have something to screw the 1x4 lath boards that are going to hold the insulation back and the siding on the inside of the walls. And after pricing the walls sprayed with foam, I decided to go with 2-inch thick sheet insulation. The only problem was that the studs on the walls, the metal studs on the walls, are 5 foot apart. These come in 4 foot wide sheets, so I had to use the table saw to rip down 12-inch sections to fill in the gap that was left from a full sheet. I didn't record building this return air base, but I set it in one corner, put some weather stripping on the bottom of the air handler, and then my bearded brother-in-law and I set it in place. There was no cost for the air handler and the outside unit because I'd originally installed it in my shop, and it not being insulated, I never used it. But I did have to purchase and install the electric heat strips so that she would have some heat in the wintertime. Some may ask why I'm installing the AC before the shop is fully insulated. Well, it's August and it's hot, and I knew that it would speed up progress if it was more comfortable in the space.
And while there are a lot of things that I am not, like electrician, insulator, woodworker, this is one of the things that I am. And I got this knocked out pretty quickly in order to get the temperature down in this shop. This supply plenum with pre-existing 8-inch taps came out of my shop, and I wanted to make some adjustments to where they would blow out at a different point, so I had to cut some new taps, and I'm going to add some ductwork in the future. But for now, just blowing out in the space will work fine. Now that it's cool, and I look cool in my shorts, I started adding the receptacles in each of the locations I'd predetermined, depending on what equipment we were going to have in the shop, like this extra large freeze dryer on this custom oak cabinet that I built. It took a few days to install all the insulation and the lad boards, and I was very thankful that I had some help. My bearded brother-in-law is not too bright, but he can lift heavy things, and he follows directions. It took a little bit, but using the table saw to cut the angles, I got all the ceiling pieces fit in and taped up the seams. I think because I'm not an insulator, there were several places that the seams weren't perfect, but a little bit of expanding foam took care of that.
All right, having to work around some obstacles. As you can see, Mandy is already utilizing her she shed. All of the wall battens, that's what I'm calling them. They're just really something for me to be able to screw the boards that are going on the sides to. But the wall battens are done, the ceiling battens are done, all the insulation is in. And next up is to start putting the ceiling up, which is going to be some old corrugated tin or rusty barn tin that I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace. And I think it's going to look great. So next video will be starting with that and then moving on to probably finishing the walls and maybe the floor, cabinetry, stuff like that. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. It's been a fun build. Lots of challenges, but looking forward to its completion. Thanks for watching.